Hello, welcome to the 1CapApp video series. Today we're going to talk about how to get started with 1CapApp. First thing you want to do is register. If you haven't done that already, do that, and then we'll go from there. Registration is real simple. Just click on this register button, and you'll set up your company and your admin user ID. Once you got your admin user ID, you come in here and type in 1CapApp.com, and this is the first page that you'll see. And then you click on customer login, type in the user and pass that you received during your registration. That should be your admin user. In my case, I've set up a fast captions company with a fast captions user ID and password. So this is what you get. So the first thing you want to do is download 1Connect so that you can make a communication link between your computer that you're writing on and our streaming server. So to download that, you just click 1Connect here, and then you save this file. And I'm on Firefox, so just go in your download. Chrome, it'll come down here in a little box that you can start it from. But here you hit your down arrow and just get it going. I'm not going to run it because I've already got it installed on this. But just follow the instructions, and it's going to ask you to restart your computer, so be ready for that. So after the installation, it'll ask you to reboot. But anyway, load 1Connect on there, and then we would be ready to go. First thing that you do would be to set up your writers. In Fast Caption, I have all of these user control. This is your staff. And I'll go into Fast Captions, which is an admin user. And as an admin user, I can do anything in the platform I want. Create sessions, create users, delete users, change passwords, and so you want to make sure that the person that you give this admin's profile or privilege to is somebody that you want doing all these things. There's another profile you can choose, which would be writer, and then within this writer you can assign them specific privileges where they can assign viewers or not, create viewers or not, and set up sessions. But normally on a writer you want them to be doing all of this. In case something happens where maybe the viewer wasn't assigned, or maybe he wasn't even created and he was assigned, that person was assigned to that to write that job, and so they can come in here and create the viewer for you and get the session or the job going correctly. The other profile is a limited writer. A limited writer can only start and stop sessions that they have been assigned to. That's something else. The admin writer can only see sessions that they are assigned to. The same way with a limited writer. The only difference between a writer and a limited writer is that a limited writer cannot create viewers, and they cannot assign viewers to sessions. The only thing they can do is start and stop a session and connect to it through 1Connect or whatever communication software they use. If they're using serial IP, that would work too. So anyway, that's the user. So create your writers. Next thing you would do would set up your company. You could set up company first, it really doesn't matter. But here is a logo that will display on the top of your view screen or the view page that your client will be seeing. You can upload your own company logo here, and so it'll look like a 1CapApp. The 1CapApp platform is yours, and you're presenting that to your client. This is a website that will be available on the middle of the view screen down at the bottom. They can click that that link and go to your website. This hard stop will allow you to set a time of inactivity where the system will shut down the session, the active session, when there isn't any activity for this amount of time. So you have in between 5 minutes and 90 minutes to choose, or you can disable this function, which means that you need to stop your own sessions. The system will not stop it for you after inactivity. So 5 minutes is too soon, most likely, because you have breaks longer than that. But 90 minutes may be a bit long for you, so maybe someplace in the middle, 30, 45 minutes, something like that. So that gives you enough time for breaks and maybe even lunch to get back and keep the session going by hitting your keys. Let's see. We have a demo here. You can add your own script here, and here's the link you would put on your website to come here. We even have gone so far as you can make that view page on the demo look like whatever you want, because we have it associated with a preset. So you can either have notes on or not have notes on, and the chat box, or have it look however you want. You can put ads on it too. But anyway, we can go forward with that. This is where you add advertisements onto your view page, but you save the icon images here, and there's another session about that later. Another video out there about how to set up ads on a session. Okay, so here's your company information. You get that all set up. So we've set up our writers, we set up our company. Now the next thing we want to do is start setting up our, first of all, any private sessions that you might have, you want to create viewers so that they would have a login, user, and pass. Now these are your clients, not your writers. These are your clients that have these, that are called viewers in our system. And so anybody that you need to have a private session, that they would need to supply a user ID and password to get into the session, you would need to set up a viewer for them. Good thing about having viewers or having private sessions is that you know that your client's there. So when they log in and you have a chat going, you have a chat box associated with the session, you will be able to see the viewer or your client when they log in the chat user list. Okay, next thing, to make it easy for you to create sessions, we've create templates, or what we call session presets. So for sessions that do pretty much the same thing, like a student or a Google Glass session, because they have certain ways that they want the screen to look, or football stadiums sessions, or ads on a view page, and then the default one that you just normally use anyway. So I'm gonna bring up the default preset, and all of these things you can save as a template. It's pretty much everything that a session has, and you can go through it and save it. I'm not going to go through every single piece of this, but in this customized view page, this is where you turn on or off your chat function, your notes function, and whether or not you want to send a automatic transcript at the end, which is what this disable email function. The email function is sending the transcript. So the chat you can have disabled or enabled with a user list or without a user list. So whether or not you want your viewers to be able to see who all's in the session, sometimes that's important. And then this other box shows controls on the top, whether or not you want your viewers to be able to control how the session looks from their side, and whether or not you want the header with the icon up there, the background color as well. And in this one, the customized widgets, you get a customize how your stream box looks, how the notes box looks, and how the chat box looks on the view page. All these are separate boxes that can be resized dynamically on the screen. Okay. And then ads, I talk about in another video. So these are presets. Once you have your presets saved and the way that you want them, you just come in here, go to your setup session, pick a preset, and I'm going to pick default, and I'm just going to create it. Create a test session, and I can create a static name for this session so that your client would have the same link every single time. And if that's the case, you're probably going to want it to be limited or hidden or public, but not necessary. You could still make it private. They would use the same link every time, but they would be asked to provide a login and password, login ID and password. Set the date and time, whatever you want it to be, and then set your captioner, and then if it's a private, you set your viewers. If it is not a private, if it's a public, that viewer option goes away. But all of this has already been set in your preset. If it's the way that you want it, you get it the way you want, and then you don't have to worry about it every time that you create a session. And you save it. And here's your test session. During the day, you'll have a whole bunch of these on your screen, depending on how busy you are. And this hover on and hover off up here can help you decide whether viewers have been assigned. You can just run your cursor down it, and it'll pop up with viewers on it, whether or not they're on. So that's just a little hover here, which is a kind of nice little thing. And it gives the time zone of it and the session ID. But you turn that off because that can drive you crazy when you're moving this stuff around. If you click on this, on your session bar, anywhere on this bar, you don't have to click over here on planned. This is your status, by the way. You don't have to click here, but this brings up additional information where you can start the session, you can cancel it, which basically deletes it at this point. Or you can do a test stream, and there's another video on how to do a test stream, but it's basically allowing you to test your connection without being charged accumulated time. So it's a free test just to make sure that everything's okay and you're connected okay and you're ready to go. But when you're ready to start the session, you just hit start. If you want to get the link to this session so you can send it out to your client, is copy this clipboard, or you can choose who your client you want to be. You can type in their password here, and it'll send it to them in an email. This embedded link will be used, or could be used, for broadcast stations that want to display the 1CapApp view page on their own website. This would be an iframe that they would embed on their website. So anyway, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to start the session. And so now we're in standby. It was planned, now it's standby. I'm going to start 1Connect. And here's 1Connect. You can see that when I connect 1Connect, it says that you are assigned to the session test session. So if it does not say the session that you're assigned to, then there's something wrong with the connection, okay? If I disconnect that, I'll show that to you again. Connect. All these should be green. And you are assigned to the session test session right here. I'll bring that back over here. And okay, I have started the session. You can see it started. I'm in standby. I haven't started writing to the streaming server yet. I haven't sent any text to the streaming server yet. And so I'm not being charged time yet. Even though I've started it, I'm not being, we are not accumulating time yet on you. Not until text actually gets sent. And so I'm going to start go to the view page. I copied the link earlier, and so this is what the view page was going to look like for our test session. And here's the icon that was on the company setup that's going to be shown on the view page. This can be your icon. You just have to upload an icon for your company here. Now I'm going to start sending some text through 1Connect to the view screen. I don't have my bold macro set up here, but anyway, this was supposed to be a on and off bold macro, but anyway, this is what would happen when we send text to the view screen and how it would look. And so I've connected with 1Connect and set my COM port at 9 and sent text to the view page. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect 1Connect, and I'm going to start an interactive stream. Notice it has what I've already sent here. This is an interactive stream. Space. It doesn't send the last word until you hit a space there, so if you're wondering about that. So on your view page, you'll see this is an interactive stream. So you can either do a keyboard macro type situation with this interactive stream, or you place your cursor on this interactive stream box and start writing on your stenograph machine, or voice writers use this, C-print writers. And so they just put their cursor here and start writing away or talking away, and then the text will show up here on the screen and then end up on the view page over here. Then when you're done, you just want to stop the session. And that's it. If you have any questions, give us a call or send us an email at contact@1capapp.com. And thank you again for using 1CapApp. Good day.